Hey guys, it's Mitch again, and we've got another review for you today. This one's on the Cold Steel American Lawman, and I'm just going to get straight into it. I'm not going to bore you by reading out all the specs, I'm just going to roll them down on the screen here. Now, the Cold Steel American Lawman has been a constant companion of mine for about 2 years now. I carry this knife with me essentially everywhere I go and use it for every task that you could need a knife for. Use it for hunting, fishing, bushcraft, and other EDC tasks. Now, on that point, I believe this knife has been designed for, and really is, a hard use EDC folder. Now, to say hard use is kind of a relative term. 2 folders. It's not a hard use knife like a fixed blade that you can baton through huge logs and really hammer on, but for a folder, I don't think you can get anything stronger. Now, the blade steel on this knife is Japanese AUS8A. As shown in my SOK review, the steel is awesome. It holds an edge really well, and it also takes an edge really well, but also it's almost indestructible. Now, because of that, this knife can be really thinly hollow ground, and this makes it extremely good at slicing and cutting, which is really helpful for things like feather sticking and skinning and gutting. Now, this knife is gutted and skinned and butchered 2 deer and numerous rabbits. It's also been used as a throwing knife. It's even baton stuff. And through all of that, it's still strong and sharp. Now, the blade coating does come off quite easily, as you can see. So Cold Steel still needs to work on that, but I think kind of the scars left on the blade by all of these little chips and stuff add character to it and show that you actually use your knife. After all, that's kind of the point of having one. Now, if you want this knife to be in showroom condition its whole life, then I would look elsewhere. The coating on the back spacer comes off in high heat. I've put this knife in the dishwasher pretty much just to abuse it, and because I was being too lazy at the time. It kind of gave me an idea of what the G10 could handle and what the Teflon liners would do, and all of it's still fine. Pocket clip on this knife, it rides pretty low in the pocket, so not many people can see it if you don't want them to see it. Also, the pocket clip itself is quite short, so that adds to the kind of concealability of this knife. It retains really well in the pocket, and it comes out quite quickly because of the short pocket clip. Now, it's always going to be a tip-up carry, but you can change the pocket clip to be on the left and right side depending on what you want. It's just a case of replacing 3 small screws there in the pocket clip. Now, in my military style ACU pants there, the pockets are kind of thin, so the blade comes out easily, but with the Levi's, they're pretty thick and the blade still comes out quite easily. A lot of people complain about the G10 on the handles being too rough and kind of messing up your pockets, but if you use this knife for about a week, that all goes away quite quickly. And I would rather the blade stay in there instead of just falling out because it's too smooth. This knife has the Cold Steel Triad lock in it, which I personally believe to be the strongest folding lock in the world, just like Cold Steel says. It works pretty much like a traditional lockback, but it's got a stop pin, which means pressure from the blade is distributed into the stop pin and then into the handle, which means it pretty much turns itself into a fixed blade. And the locking area on the bottom of the blade is also pretty large, so it means the lock is nearly impossible to disengage, just through normal use. The ergonomics of this knife are very good. The finger grooves mean that you can choke back on the blade or choke up on it for detailed tasks such as feather sticking and carving. The G10 also adds to the grip factor of the blade, of the handle, and it means that your hands aren't going to slip even when they're wet or cold or covered in blood or in gloves. The thumb stud can be reversed for left and right hand carry. It's pretty simple to do, you just need a flathead screwdriver to flip it around. This is quite useful when sharpening on a system kind of like a Lansky or an Edge Pro Apex like I use, because you can take it out and then have just a flat blade surface to work with. If you want to flip it around, yeah, just kind of unscrews and then you can use the longer side on the side which your dominant hand is on. Weight is always going to be an important consideration when you're putting in the Ks out in the bush or wherever you are. For me, I want to carry a tool that's capable, but is as lightweight as possible, just to save myself a bit of hurt when I'm climbing up those hills. Now, The Cold Steel American Lawman only weighs 153 grams, which means I don't really notice it's even in my pocket most of the time. I've actually forgotten that I've even had it just because it's so light. The fact that it doesn't have steel liners or that the handles are made out of G10 means that it cuts down on weight even more, and it doesn't sacrifice strength. There's kind of like an old school thinking that you must carry, you know, the heaviest, most industrial looking tool that you can get out there, but these polymers nowadays mean that you can get just as much use, if not more use, out of a knife while having less weight. And that's an absolutely amazing feature of this knife too. Taking apart this knife is very easy. All you need is a T6 and a T10 Torx driver. You simply unscrew the screws and the handles pull apart from each other, exposing all the internal mechanisms and stopping pins. Now, this knife actually has Teflon and copper washers in there, which means it's extremely smooth, and I've noticed dirt does get in between the washers when you get it really dirty and full of blood and stuff, but it's very simple to take apart and clean, so it's not really a problem. And that's about it for that review, guys. I don't want to be sitting here blabbing on and boring you, but I just wanted to say thank you because I really appreciate all the views that we're getting and all the subs we're getting too. So if you haven't subscribed yet, then I'd really appreciate it if you did, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that has subscribed so far. We'll be uploading a lot more videos shortly. Sorry that we haven't been uploading much, but we're going to remedy that situation soon. Again guys, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.